Welcome to Teresa's New Dawn. I'm here to show you that this stage of life is full of endless possibilities, whether it's traveling solo or simply finding joy in the little things. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about next chapters in our lives. As you all know, I've recently retired. I've reached the age of 60, and I'm looking at how does that look different for me? Well, today you are in for a treat. I'm talking with one of my dear friends, Sherry, that I've known for 40 plus years, and we're going to have a conversation just about how things are changing in her life, what she's doing, what I'm doing, and it's just going to be an overall good thing. So let's go on and get started. Hey, Sherry.
Hey, Teresa. So good to see you and be with you and on your show.
It's good to see you too, and thank you for being here. Just want to go on and jump into the conversation. So let's talk about this new stage that we're in. We've known each other since high school. So thinking back to our high school days, what advice would your current self give to your younger self?
You're enough. You are enough. I think when I was in high school, and as most people know, when you're in high school, you're going through puberty. It's like raging. And I think you're trying so hard to figure out who you are. And unfortunately, you're not comfortable in your skin, and you're like looking at other people and comparing yourself, and the person that you relate to or you admire or who's most popular tends to make you feel like you need to be that person. And the more you realize you're not like that person, the worse you feel about yourself. And I think if I could say anything to that younger Sherry is, you're enough. You're beautiful just the way you are. You're smart just the way you are. You don't have to be the most popular. What's most important is that you have friends that you make at this time in your life that will be your friends for life. So,
Yeah, I love that. And believe it or not, I still have those conversations with myself today, to reinforce those things. So I love that's what came up for you. Um, so what are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned throughout your life, especially during challenging times?
well, my mom, the Ev.
Yes.
Um,
And I love her.
the Ev, sometimes we look at our parents and we think, oh God, why didn't I have this parent, or why didn't I have that parent? And one of the things that I've come to realize as I've gotten older, and my mother is aging as well, is, God gives you the parent that he needs you to have for you to
Mm,
be who he needs you to be. And one of the things my mom has always done for me is to root me to my faith, and to
okay.
trust that, through prayer and understanding, whatever I'm going through, I'm going to get through it. And many times I've gone to her crying and upset and all this, and she always says the same thing. She's like, leave it with Jesus. Put it
Okay.
on the foot of the cross, and leave it there. And there have been times that I'm crying, and she's like, "Didn't we talk about this? Didn't we talk about this? Oh, no, no, no! If we talking about it, you didn't pick it up. Now go put it back and leave it there."
Oh, I love that.
That's the
Yeah.
Ev.
I need to go talk to the Ev a little bit more. I really do. And I think it's very important for us that we had that older role model to kind of redirect us when we needed to be redirected. So
Mhm,
yeah, that's
mhm,
great.
mhm.
Yeah. So how have your perspectives on life, relationships, and faith changed over the past few decades?
Well, let me just say this: aging blows. That's what I'm about to say. Um, your perspective shifts as you age, and aging means you have different experiences in your life. And for me, one of the things that I've really struggled with is, finances and also security in life. And Sherry has had a lot of jobs, has shifted careers many times, and so I've always had trust about it. That didn't mean that I didn't have anxiety and fear. What if this doesn't work out? I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to live in my car. And I think now that I'm the golden age of 60, those concerns are even more rampant because, when you're 20, 30, 40, even 50, it's like, oh, I've got more years that I can work and, make money and so on and so forth. And you and I, we had a conversation about this not long ago. You have always been my role model for managing money and trying to set a budget. And I'm much better than I used to be. But it's definitely something that concerns me, and I think it concerns many of us. And with the state of our nation right now, and please God, let this be short-lived. It really is something that's top of mind for me. And then in terms of, the aging with your body, how your body shifts. I mean, I walked on the Camino in Spain for my birthday last September. And I mean, one day I walked 15 miles, the next day 16 miles, and then 18 miles. Woo! I'm proud of myself that I was able to do that. But my body let me know, oh, Missy, you are 60. You are 60 girl. And I trained for it. And still, your body changes, and it just won't do some of the things that it did. I mean, that your whole life, like my whole life, I love to eat popcorn. That was like my go-to. I mean, my skinny girl diet was popcorn and a glass of wine for dinner, and I was skinny for years, for decades. And I can't eat too much popcorn now, because it gives me a stomach ache. And I'm like, wow. And then wine, can't drink any wine. That cheap wine for sure I can't drink.
So there's no Boone's Farm in your future?
Oh, girl. No. But, it's like it's changed my focus on how I treat my body even, whereas before I would be like, I don't need to be shopping at Whole Foods and stuff. That's expensive. But now it's like, they have certain things that the regular grocery store just doesn't have that I think my body needs. So, and then you develop different maladies. Like I have a thyroid condition that affects me and my weight and stuff. So I would say overall, my perspective is you have to be able to embrace change as you age.
Okay.
And not fight it. Try and figure out ways for you to embrace it. And that's a struggle. I mean, I see many of my friends, colleagues, church ladies, that are really struggling with embracing the change. And it's not good for you. It's not good for the people around you. You have to learn how to embrace change.
So you mentioned a couple things that I just want to kind of circle back to, if you don't mind. You mentioned walking the Camino. For those people that don't know what that is, can you just give a short, I don't know, maybe 30-second second description of what it is?
It's a pilgrimage, and this is something that my understanding is 250,000 or 500,000 people do the Camino every year of all faiths.
Wow.
So it's truly a pilgrimage, and it allows you to be in community with nature, with your thoughts, and again, with your body. It really does help you to focus on self care, self realization, and for those of us who are faithful, God, if you're open to it. And I mean, there have been people who were not religious at all who've done it, who've had a spiritual connection with God, walking the Camino. The Camino, the entire Camino is 500 miles, and it's from France to Spain.
Okay.
I just did the last 100 miles, and that was just in Spain.
So I love it when people say, I just did something. You said, I just did the last 100. It's not a big deal.
Well,
but it is a big deal.
well, I mean, in comparison, and there I go again, comparing my experience to someone else's. When you talk to people who've done the whole 500, it's like, wow. But it takes a month. I mean, it took me about a week and a couple of days to do the stint I did in Spain. So for you to be able to take that amount of time out of your life just to devote to yourself and to your thoughts and nature is powerful. So you're right. I shouldn't just say just, but
yeah. So, and I'm hopefully not skipping a question, but many people our age are settling into retirement. So, what gives you the courage? You know, we talked about, or I may have mentioned that you were going back to school to pursue the Master's of Theology degree. What gave you the courage to make such a significant goal for yourself?
So I have to just go back a little bit and say that sometimes we don't see our gifts, we don't see our abilities, and others have to help us. So I actually took a class at LMU, Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, and there was a professor there who just thought my ideas and my insights and my papers was just amazing and wonderful. And I remember when I met her, she's a younger professor, and she asked me why I was taking the class. I explained it to her, and I said, I just want, when I'm having conversations with these other Catholics who are older, where they talk about stuff I don't know, and like, you know, theologians make me want to vomit. And she was like, I'm a theologian. And I was like, really? You're a theologian? Because my image of a theologian is an old man with a long white beard. That's my image of a theologian.
So can I get you to pause and explain what a theologian is?
So theologians are doctors of theology for our Catholic Church, people who have actually helped to shape the faith and how we practice it. And they're like all older white men. That's how they've been depicted. And so as a woman, it's, you know, it's limiting that they really get us, you know? And so when she said she was a theologian, I was like, what? It's like, what? Women can be theologians? And she explained it to me. And so after I took the class, she said to me, you should get your master's. And I was like, girl, I'm about to be 60 in a couple of years. This was like 2.5 years ago. And she said, I really think you could be a theologian. And she was like, I was like, what? I could be a theologian? And I just like planted that seed. And then I thought, first of all, that's an expensive degree to get.
Okay.
And because I do so much work for the Catholic Church, they have a scholarship fund. And she said, I definitely will submit you. I think we need to have you be a part of the LMU community. And
Wow.
so because she believed in me,
Yeah.
I believe in myself that I can
Yeah.
get this done. So that's how it happened. If it hadn't been for the encouragement of Dr. Layla Karst, I am here to tell you I would not be doing this.
Yeah. I think sometimes I found in my life that sometimes other people definitely see things in us that
That
we
we
might
don't see
kind of
in
know
ourselves.
that's there, but we may not have the courage or, the
Hmm.
whatever, the gumption to move
Hmm.
forward. So I mean, I commend you for listening to her and kind of moving forward with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But she chased me for 2.5 years. Every time she would see me at mass or something, she'd be like, "Are you still thinking about it?" I'd be like, "Dr. Karst, oh my goodness." But now I feel like it's the time. And after the Camino, I prayed about that on the Camino, and it came to me that I should do it. So
Okay. So, how do you feel about the idea of being a mature student? Are there any anxieties, or are you excited? Like, how do you feel about that?
keep on adding those adjectives, girl. All of that, all of that. Yeah, but the thing about it in situations like this, I know there are resources.
Okay.
There are going to be angels along the way who can help me. So I know I'm not on this journey alone. So that
Yeah.
is what gives me a great amount of confidence that I can get this done. Now, in terms of like even their writing system, when we were going to college, I think it was MLA. It's something else now, and I
I
have to
don't even
tell
remember. Yeah.
yeah, it's a different writing style. So
Okay.
during the class I took with her, I was introduced to it, and I have to tell you, it's much easier because with technology now, like bibliographies, remember
Mm-hmm.
that? You have to
Yes.
have the comma in the right place and the colons and oh, it does all of that. You just put the book in or the source, and it does it for you. It just
Oh,
adds it.
wow.
I was like, oh yeah, this is much easier. So, that was the thing that I was the most worried about. And it's going to be easier, a lot easier. So I'm very happy about that.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to be on that journey with you and to hear about it in between. I know you're probably going to be super busy, but it'll be exciting to hear how things are going.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so what are your hopes and expectations for this next phase of your life? And how do you envision impacting your community?
So, it's funny. You always knew exactly when you were going to retire. And all of your financial planning and all that helped you to know that. I never, ever envisioned myself as retiring unless
Mm,
some medical thing happens. I just always saw myself as working and
okay.
not working in the sense that I went to the same place every day and did the same job. And yeah, maybe there were some changes in whatever, field I was going to be in that I would learn to do, but essentially it was the same. I left that paradigm long time ago.
I know,
Like
I know.
yeah, I just was like, mm-mm. So another gift, my parish priest, when I was like 10 or 11, told me I had this gift for speaking. And it manifested itself as me lecturing at church. And that means I read Bible scriptures to the whole congregation on Sundays. And that was the beginning of my public speaking career. And I've gone on to be a trainer and to speak, internationally.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I am hoping, or Dr. Karst and I are planning, is after I get this degree that I could be a professor at Loyola Marymount. And I think that is going to help the community tremendously to have, a woman's voice in interpreting our scriptures and how we are living our Catholic faith. And it is a community that does embrace DEI significantly and
Okay.
social justice and also in terms of our faith, they really are progressive. And so to be one of those voices, I think is going to be amazing. And I also think in terms of my personal finances, that's going to help me to do really well in my later years, to have that, income. And, professors, you teach, I guess, Tuesday and Thursday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it gives me that freedom that I need to flourish. So.
Yeah, and I can see you. I mean, I know, having gone to Catholic school, but I had a completely different experience, so I don't remember a lot of it. And it's always helpful when you remind me gently what certain things are, because you never make me feel like, girl, I can't believe you don't remember that. You always just kind of fill it in. So I know you're going to be an amazing, professor and helping the Catholic community. So we're continuing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Okay. So how do you balance? Well, let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about I know you are a widow and we're coming up on an anniversary for you. How do you manage the grief and continue to, keep going? How do you do that?
So it's my faith that got me through. I've got to say initially, me and God, we were not in a good place. We were not. As you know, I was 40. I
Yeah.
was 46 when I got married.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I
But
was
you know what, Sherry,
46.
if you don't mind, talk about that a little bit, because we may have some viewers that may be on the older side before they get married for the first
Okay, I
time. So
need a little,
just kind of, if you don't mind, just talking about that.
and just to be clear, y'all, that was some coffee. We're not having cocktails and doing this. And I'm not a morning person, so Teresa even scheduled a little later, and I'm still needing some coffee. Anyway, I and Teresa, you can laugh about this because you were out and about in our early years,
Yeah.
and I was very introverted and just very judgy when I was younger. And I would I would be out at a club or something with the girls, and I'd be like, no. Guys would step to me, I'd be like, no, And it's like, I don't like the way he looks. Why is he wearing that? I mean, it was really bad. And so I went back to my faith. When I was 40, when I turned 40 and I wasn't married, I didn't have a house, I didn't have a dog, 2.5 kids,
Yeah.
measuring my life to what society says you should have to be successful.
Yeah.
I went to the Vatican for a retreat for my birthday.
Okay.
So I literally woke up at the Vatican. Well, not I wasn't sleeping in the Vatican, but
Right.
I was I was in Rome, and I was staying someplace that you overlook the
Okay.
St. Peter Square. So in any case, I woke up and I'm having my coffee, looking at this, and I got down to the square, and I'm standing there and I'm looking at the Vatican. I'm like, Lord, you know what? If you do not send me a husband by the time I'm 41, I'm done. I'm gonna join the convent. Um, he sent me my husband 1 week before my 41st birthday, literally
Wow.
before. And when you're dating, there are times you're like, Lord, wait a minute, is this from you or is this from the other? But over time, you knew my husband. My husband, I was in an interracial marriage. My husband was blonde and blue, 6'5", former professional athlete. I just never. I remember when he tried to get my number, I'm thinking like, you need a Barbie. And I said to him, I said, oh, you don't want my number. You need a Barbie. And he said, I had a Barbie. I like Christy. And I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. You get points because you know who Christy is. What? What? And so we had a great 16 years together, and he died very suddenly, and it was hard because I'm like, really, Lord, you made me wait all this time. On our wedding day, I said, Lord, give us 30 years. Because I was 40 and he was 5 years older. And I thought, oh, that's good. We'll be in our 70s. That's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And we were 6 months out from our 10th wedding anniversary when he died. And yes, this Monday, March the 10th, will be 4 years that he passed away. And when it first happened, I couldn't even say passed away because he didn't pass away, because it was very traumatic how he died and what I saw. And I had trauma, I had PTSD from that. But it has really kind of fueled this new chapter in my life because, when you're going through grief, it's all about staying busy, staying busy. You do not want to have 1 minute that you can just sit in your grief. You just don't want that. You want to come home and be exhausted and go to sleep. You don't want to sit and think about what you miss and so on and so forth. So that kind of fueled me saying yes to everything. Anything somebody asked, I said yes, 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 yes. And when I came back from that Camino, I was like, time to say no. Time to slow my roll and really focus on what I want to do and to pray what God wants me to do. And so that's how I've arrived at this place in my life to really focus on, getting a degree. I'm also writing a book, as you know, and thank you, my friend. Sometimes I kept thinking, oh, I have friends who are authors. Let me ask them what to do. And it wasn't them that helped get me started. It was you. You said, Sherry, if you just write 30 minutes every day and send it to me, you can get started. And that's what got me started. And then I found this, well, I'm not going to say I feel like the Lord put this person in my path who's from that LMU community as well, who has written 2 books about writing. And I read those books and I was like, oh, yes, this is what I think too. And it just was like, and it's so amazing. She was helping me, and she just lost her husband suddenly. And so we're going to be widows together. And yeah.
Do you want to talk anything on the book, or is it still too early? I mean, and it's up to you. You don't have to. Okay.
It's you know what? And here's the other thing too. For all of you, let me tell you, every woman has a book in her. Every woman. And my first, foray at doing it was writing about social media. Got all the way through, presented to the publisher, and then it was not accepted. And I had an editor and everything, and the editor worked with me, and we were very happy about what we had done. And so I still am hurt by that, because I put in probably 7-8 months of my life into that, and then it wasn't accepted. Then I got a request to do another book about the saints of color.
Okay.
Started doing that, and I told so many people about it. All these other people started writing about it.
Okay.
So now it's the rush to whoever gets published first, because they're not going to publish everybody's book. Because they're not going to flood the market with the same kind of book.
Yeah.
So One thing, don't tell people what you're writing about. Choose, and that's one of the things I learned from, I'm calling her my Sherpa for my writing experience. She says you should hold it close to your heart until it's
Okay.
ready. And
Yeah.
so I'm holding it close to my heart. I mean, you know what's in the book.
Right, right, right.
Well, it's like, yeah, you and no, and the other thing is no one can copy your story.
Yes. I totally agree with that. And I know I think there's some value in that because I remember I've had so many ideas through the years and I just thought, oh, so and so is going to do it or so and so will do it. And I realize it when I do things, it's special because it's from me and I'm a
Yes.
unique individual. So
And your
yeah,
unique
totally.
perspective and how you
Yes.
do things. And yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So I know we were going to talk about, wisdom that you'd like to share with some of the women. I think we touched on that a little bit, but is there anything more that you'd like to share from your experiences with women that maybe not just 60, but maybe they're 55, approaching 60 or 65, and they're terrified of what life might be like aging? Any other wisdom that you'd like to share?
Well, I also think your self-care is so important. And
Yeah.
once a quarter, I go on a retreat. Now, I know not everybody has the ability to withdraw from the world for
Hmm.
a day or 4 days, but you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, minimum do a day retreat, minimum. I really think you need, I do 4 days. And I know y'all
Okay.
are like, what? And I do silent ones. So y'all can see I'm a bit loquacious. So for me, I remember the first time I did a silent retreat was after Brad died. That was the first time I did a 4 day one. And people were like, girl, you gonna get, they're gonna ask you to leave because you cannot be focused for 4 days. And
Yeah.
I could. And it is said, I don't know what saint said it or who said it, but the Lord speaks to you in silence.
Yeah.
So you have to be quiet enough in your life to hear it. Now, some of you may be like, oh, I'm not into religion and God and Jesus and all that. Whatever you want to call it, your
Yeah.
intuition, whatever, it speaks to you in silence. So you have to be silent. You have to stop. You have to just be with yourself in thought
Hmm.
and in place to
Yeah.
to hear that. And that has been the most helpful thing that I've done in the last 4 years. And I think that for me, I would say to you, many of us get on a plane and they do the safety instruction and they say if there is a change in cabin pressure, these oxygen masks are going to drop from the ceiling. And if you're with someone, be sure to apply the oxygen mask to yourself before you help others. And that is basically, for me, what retreats do. They
Okay.
allow me to take in that oxygen so I can help others. So if you think of it in that regard, we're women. We're always taking care of other people, whether it's a
Yeah.
spouse, children, parents, friends, co-workers, husbands.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You have to take some time for yourself. Otherwise, you get burnt out and your body doesn't like it. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
I was going to add on to that. One of my favorite, oh gosh, quotes or from the Bible is "Be still and know that I am God," and I have
Amen.
that throughout my house as a reminder. And I'm very good at being still and quiet, as you know. So I agree with that. But I wanted to ask your thoughts, or if you agree with this. So if there are people that maybe they can't afford to go on a retreat or they can't afford to go anywhere, is there, do home retreats, or if you just have a space where you can just go be quiet, would you suggest that too? Or have you found that those work or they're not the same for you?
So I love technology, right? You know that, right? So there are, if you go on YouTube, there are meditative workshops that you can just, you know, be in your own space, but turn
Okay.
off the TV and all that, and just be in that workshop for the day. The other thing is there are lots of like little retreat houses or places that are beautiful, that are tranquil, that are like naturey, like a park or something.
Hmm.
And you can just go there for like 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, walking through a museum is really helpful.
Yeah.
My sister, who's 18 years younger than I am, has found that, lots of yoga studios have like these monthly or weekly meditation opportunities or yoga
Oh,
opportunities for
okay.
you to
Okay.
do. So just start to seek using Google. Just use Google and say meditation or retreat near me, and
Yeah.
it'll pop up, because some of them are cheap, some of them are very inexpensive, and
Yeah.
I do it once a quarter. So if you could just commit to doing 4 a year to start,
Yeah.
and I would say each one be a different experience that
Yeah.
first year. And then the next year, maybe you do 2 of the same, or 3 of the same, or all 4 of the same.
Yeah.
That would be my thing. We have to take care of us. We have to
Yeah.
take care of us before we can take care of others. So
Yeah, I definitely believe in self-care. Anyone who knows me says, "Oh, girl, you've been doing this for years." So, because I agree, if I'm not in a good headspace or a good physical space, I can't do anything for anyone else. So, I'm always looking for a reason to take care of me.
well, and
So,
the other thing is, like we were talking about, I mean, you used to be like this weekend warrior person. I'm like, man, you doing another 5K? What? You doing what? A triathlon? What, girl? So, but over the years, you've had to shift.
yes,
You've
yes,
had to shift, and that's a mourning process in itself. you know
yes,
so you had to embrace the change, and now you're doing different things, and we're all thankful for this new chapter in your life,
yes,
because you're able to use the gifts, and we're benefiting from it too. We
yeah.
have another friend, Tamala, who is a digital nomad, and I'm like, oh, I want to be that someday. To me, that's bravery right there. um, and she's written a book,
Yeah,
and you're always good with logistics and finances and budgets and all that, and you're helping her. And I can't wait for
that's
you
a
to help
great.
me when my best-selling book comes out, because I'm gonna be on tour.
Yes.
And so I just think, again, it's all about embracing the change. You
Yeah,
know, aging does not have to mean the end. It doesn't have to mean that you're not relevant, you're
yes,
not worthy, you're not
yeah,
important. But if you stay in that same place that time has moved on from, you will
hmm,
be. So you
yeah,
have to embrace change. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying everything, but pick some things. Number one, you got to be on AI. You got to find it. I mean, and I'm not using AI a whole lot. I'm not even gonna lie, like, I'm really good at it. Just little things I'm starting to use. So at least I have an idea. I can be conversational about it. Um, and yeah, just embrace the change. And yes, I look at my body and I'm like going, what? Where did they do they have undergarments to cover that? Let me go and find that. And it's like, I am so happy the bikinis are coming back that are high waisted, because I
Yeah.
haven't worn a bikini in I don't know how long. I'm like, I might get one this year, because it's covering up the stuff. So
You know what, Sherry? I have decided that I am definitely wearing a bikini. My daughter doesn't know this. She's going to be shocked, but I'm wearing a bikini this year. And I think we should because since I've retired, I've taken a lot of trips. I've seen a lot of men and women in bathing suits, and many of them are very free and they just don't care. So we need to kind of release all of whatever that is saying to us, unless we're tight and toned and whatever, that we cannot wear a bikini. So I'm going to put a challenge out to you to let yourself wear a bikini on the beach. It can't be in your house
Okay.
um, sometime
Girl,
today.
wait. And you know what? You know I'm gonna put on my social media. So there you go. I
Yes.
did do a as you recall, probably was it 2 years ago? I went to Maui, and me and another girlfriend of mine who's a widow, we got in this waterfall together, and we had like a one piece on, and I mean it was like crazy viral picture of these two women. She's 70, I think, and here I was about to turn 60, and we just laughed. We're like, yeah, we're the Sports Illustrated cover for senior citizens. But it was beautiful because we
Yes.
felt beautiful in taking the picture, and it was like a symbol to people that you do laugh after a death, you do
Yes.
move on. And so I'm gonna take that challenge, girl.
We have to celebrate us. And my thing is really celebrating me, enjoying life for as long as I can. So if I reach a point where I cannot do something, I won't feel like, wow, I wish I would have done that.
Right.
I'll feel like, yeah, you did that. So it's okay to move on to the next thing,
Right.
you
I mean,
know?
I say that all the time. I'm like, when I'm in the home.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So let me see. We talked about self-care. Is there a message of hope and resilience that you'd like to share with viewers who might be facing their own challenges or considering some sort of major change?
Patience with your situation and yourself, prayer. And if you don't pray, then meditation or thought around the situation for clarity. Those are the two things that I think we really, really need to focus on. We're in such a hurry for an answer or change to come, and you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You really do. Some things
Yeah.
take time. It may take longer than you anticipate or you want, but again, in God's perfect time,
Yes.
in God's perfect time. And then being with yourself and in your thoughts in prayer or just meditation is important
Yeah.
and helpful, because if our brains are always thinking and planning and doing, we don't allow space for creativity or thoughts that are in our subconscious to come
Yeah.
out, because you're
Yeah.
like you're always piling on, you know?
Yeah.
So
So is there any question or anything that I didn't ask that you would like to talk about or to discuss?
no, I think we covered it all. I'm really surprised. It went really fast. But
It did, yeah.
I think that speaks to, our relationship and how well we know each other,
Yeah.
that just organically some of this came out. And yeah.
Yeah.
I just love you. I love our friendship. Value your friendships, girls. That's so important. And like she said, she knew me when. I
Yeah. If
mean,
you knew me when.
yeah, and some things have changed, but for the most part, the most consistent thing is she's been who she is.
Yeah.
She's not changed her integrity or her word, or I mean, styles change and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
yeah, we look different. But
Yeah.
I think that's what's most important, because as you get older and things change, You need someone who's going to talk to you and know where you've been so
Yeah.
they can talk to you where you are. So,
Yeah. I agree 100%. I was actually going to say something to that effect, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Just the importance of friendship. And
mhm.
even as I'm sitting here watching the screen, for a couple minutes, I was flashing back to different stages in our lives, like when we were teenagers, when we're in our 20s, 30s,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the value of friendships and having real honest relationships with people where I know I can be myself with you
Yep.
and you're going to tell me straight, good
Mhm.
or bad, whatever. And I
Mhm.
do appreciate that. And
Mhm.
hopefully people that are watching this video will have
Yeah.
relationships like that.
Ditto. I mean, it just is so important because as we, get older, you do cultivate friends all through your life. But
Yeah.
sometimes I think people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And you're
Yes.
definitely a lifetime person. You got life
Yeah.
with me, girl.
I know.
So,
I feel the same about you. You can't get rid of me. I know
yeah.
where your mom lives.
Oh God. And when you're like, I'm sitting here looking at you, I'm like, oh God, if she says, God, you looking like Evelyn, I'm gonna just
I
die.
was gonna say that. So, well, with given that, let's just take the time out to close the video so that we will not be talking for another hour. But I do appreciate the time with you, Sherry, and I cannot wait to do a follow-up. Maybe once you start school, maybe, I don't know, a few
Yeah,
months, you can come
yeah,
back and share the experience.
that would
Um,
be awesome. And then I think too, as the book rolls out, that's going to be important to let people know what the process was because I'm really kind of holding things close to my vest, but I'm like keeping a journal of the experience so that
okay.
that could be another book,
Okay.
how to get that book written
Yeah.
that you've always had inside. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who's watching. If this resonated with you, and even if it didn't, be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel and add a comment below about your life experience in this new phase of your life. Thank you.